Next shop, citizens could choose their own celebrant. Go back hundreds of years, no one had that privilege. The parish priest or the appointee in the registry office. So he turned that on its head. The other two assertions people didn't quite believe. It's a now obvious truth. It's truth to people that would attend a conference like this. I don't know about the other 7,350 now, Celebrants now, but the present company, it's obvious. I mean, this feeling of, just listen carefully to the speeches and the Lord Mayor last night. Celebrating the milestones of life are just as important for secular people as they are for anyone else. Murphy believed that. We didn't quite understand. And his overwhelming conviction was that culture matters. It really matters. And then we move on to something where Murphy took the view, and here was a principle shared by most Australians. It's gone into the background now, but Ian would remember this about 15, 20 years ago, people who would say it. And the principle was this, that hypocrisy and dishonesty are in themselves bad. I know morality's gone out of society. He believed that hypocrisy and dishonesty in any form were endemically bad for society. So applying this to non-churchgoers, if they went for a ceremony and they went to a church which they never attended, and whose words were not consonant with their beliefs, they were being hypocrites. And they were. And they are. Another stroke of genius by Murphy, a radical stroke, was that he avoided the branding of the celebrant. Now I'm involved a bit, I've been involved a couple of times with civil celebrants in the United Kingdom. And they say, oh, if you're not religious, you must be a humanist, or you must be a rationalist. No, we weren't anything. We were people, professional people, appointed as servants to the community, not community service. That's a sore point. I'll get on to that. But we were community people. We were the ceremony provider for the whole community. As I say, no, we're not New Age priests or interfaith gurus, anything like that. But our job was to empower the citizen to celebrate the milestones in their lives in a ceremonial way, according to their beliefs, their values, and their lifestyle. And here was the really big shock, and people still aren't used to this. I think this is about my fourth really big shock, isn't it? There's a list of them. And you should be very proud of the fact that this visionary genius thought this out for us. The ceremony so created was to come not from the top down, but from the bottom up. I mean, that's so radical. I mean, church authorities for hundreds of years, have dictated the ceremony from above. So had the registry office. They dictated it. It was a dreadful thing they called a ceremony, but they told you what you had to hear and what you had to read and what the words were. Lionel Murphy said no. Listen to the people, listen to that couple, and what they believe it is, with very limited legal parameters. So, I mean, that was so radical, and it still is. And from all this follows that now you are appointed celebrants. Your personal beliefs, if any, are irrelevant to your tasks. Now we owe a great debt to the Christian Church for preserving and encouraging the arts in many ceremonies which have great beauty and great dignity, and very honest for those people who believe in those particular doctrines of faith and so on. But to Murphy and to many other Australians then and since, the valued words of a church ceremony, words to which they do not give assent, or which express propositions or stories which they do not believe, are counterproductive. I'm just going to elaborate on what I said. And I've heard this from lots of people. If a couple do not give their inner assent to the words of the sermon, they may thus, by association, discolour and render inauthentic and dishonest the very core of the marriage compact itself. The values which have troubled people in this context were then, and to some extent still are, the duty of obedience of the wife to the husband, the proposition that the husband is spiritually superior to the wife, the authority of the church in the governance of their relationship, and the proposition, unconscious sometimes, expressed in various ways, that particular church has a close connection with God and a more or less exclusive or very powerful influence in the world of the supernatural. We have to shift that, because we see the couple, what they really believe about their marriage and about the values that are inherent in their relationship, and we have to find songs, poetry, expressions of commitment, symbols of union, etc., etc. We've got to, one of the biggest professional tasks of a celebrant is to be a resource person, to have an array of sources which they can suggest to people once they've read them carefully. So in this sense, there's the civil celebrant. This is how I see it anyway. You see, civil celebrant is a facilitator. They say the worst crime you can do is read your own slides, so I'm not going to do that. Don't worry. Now, some of you, like my beloved wife, love the program Grand Design on television. And you've observed the delicate tension between the architect and the clients who have their notion of their dream home. So you've got the professional architect and you've got the people with their own ideas of what should be. And there's a delicate dance between architect and client, which results in the end, and there's tensions and little fight, and in the end, the house is born. It's a great program actually. And, you know, their dream home is there, sometimes with modifications. It's the same with a civil celebrant. There's a kind of a delicate dance. You're suggesting, they're rejecting. You know, there's a dialogue, an important dialogue goes on. And if it doesn't go on, you're not really a professional celebrant.